Hello, everybody. Welcome to yet another Phantom Group call. I have with me the wonderful anime
Meow.
hero. What was that? A cat
No, it's
meowing?
manly.
Does it sound like a
No,
manly
manly
meow?
meow.
All
Whatever.
right. This is actually a this is actually kind of a special occasion. Now, for a while now, actually, I think I don't know here a couple years.
I don't know, man. Whatever that shuts you up, man.
Well, the point is, for quite a while, I've recommended a number of series and to Hero to watch. There's some of the ones I really liked, or some of my favorites, and he's gotten to most of them. But one that he waited on a while was Revolutionary Girl Utena, and he finally finished it just recently. So we're going to go over the thoughts of it. Now, for you guys that don't know, Revolutionary Earl Utena was first made in '97, and it's kind of really well known as sort of being this really challenging, defining trope of a lot of shojo tropes, specifically the magical girl genre. And it follows this girl, Utena Tenju, and she's kind of like this tomboy teenage girl, and she's impressed by this legend of this childhood prince that she kind of dreamed about. And he was essentially a hero to her, and so she modeled herself after him, kind of dressing and adding the personality you'd often associate with a boy. Now she goes to this academy, and of course, all this stuff always takes place in high school. Or was it middle school hero? I forget.
Yeah, it was middle school. Well,
Middle
well,
school,
it
of
was a
course, whatever.
mixed academy, but Utena herself's a
Well,
middle schooler, and everyone else is like
yeah, like well, basically, she meets this girl, Anthony, who is in this really abusive relationship with multiple members of the
with
council.
pretty much everyone.
Basically, everybody. She's tossed around, literally. And Anthony is referred to as the Rose Bride and is given to each winner of the duel. Basically, each of the council members have sword fights to define who will have her, and whoever does have her says that they'll have this mysterious power to revolutionize the world and basically do something really ridiculous. And Utena is really highly known because it has a lot of metaphysical, surreal, and heavy allegory in its storyline. And there's a lot of borrowed visuals from puppetry, Dasawe shoujo, certain types of Japanese theater, just a lot of stuff. And it's also, in my opinion, well, actually, you know what? I guess I'll talk about why I like it afterwards. But I've talked enough. Hero, I guess, yeah, man. What are your thoughts? I know you talked a little bit about it, so I'm curious what the overall feeling is.
Well, going into this with all the high praise the series has, no one's expecting it to be like very episodic, very comedic, and at times can be a little bit over the top or slow. But
Hmm.
it's a really good story, like especially for Utena's character. But I just feel that there's like a lot of bumps along the road
Okay.
because there are some episodes that, well, in particular, I wanted to ask you this, but do you think the whole Black Rose saga to be a bit of a filler arc?
Honestly, that's the one arc where I felt like you could cut it out completely from the series. So yeah, I
Yeah,
do agree.
because I mean, like I said before, the first few episodes are very episodic, so they kind of build, but then after a while, you come across like a little pit stop, which is like a very comedic filler-based episode. Usually, most of the hilarious episodes are centered on the character on Koga's sister. I'm trying to remember her name. It was oh shit, what was her name?
Uh, Koga's sister.
Yeah, the blonde girl, like the
Let me hold on. I think isn't it Nanami?
it's somewhere along the lines. I know it's an N. Oh my god, but yeah, we're gonna have that. Yeah, it was Nanami. There we go.
It's
Yeah,
Nanami. Yeah.
because there'll be some like the first episode was about her like wrecking their apartment. But it's odd because a few episodes before that she did something like really horrible to Anthe. Yeah,
Terrible,
and
man.
then
Horrible.
exposing her in that party and all that. Then Utena comes to save the day with like, let's make this tablecloth into a dress. Yeah, and that's my problem because a lot of the series it kind of goes really back and forth between like very serious, then very goofy, and then there'll be some moments later on where it gets like really ridiculous, and it's usually with the supposedly high class, surreal, abstract symbolism that's going on in the show. But there'll be moments where no matter how you look at it, that is just plain freaking goofy. Because and I'm thinking it's a Black Rose saga. I don't know when it happened, but there's multiple opportunities the show does it in. There's a scene where the student council are having a meeting that for whatever reason there's like a bunch of fans in the room, or another time they were playing baseball, and then another moment there was like literally a train passing by them. That was just what is that?
Well, I'll let you in on a little
Mm.
secret. Um, well, see, there is a lot of stuff that I do believe has meaning within the show, right?
Yeah.
There definitely is. But there's also a lot of stuff that doesn't. Like, the director literally said that a lot of stuff he put in there, he just wanted to add to the visuals, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Just want to make a lot of it, he just wanted to make look cool. So some things you're seeing might mean something, some of it might not.
And there you go. So you get all this like for the first like 9 or so episodes, whatever, for the first saga. Then you jump to the Black Rose, and you're kind of expecting like our thing is gonna go to another place, but then lo and behold, I realized by this point that Utena was a battle themed series, and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't think you should be battle. Yeah, because I mean, it really follows the same direction as the shonen route. I mean, you fight a group of henchmen one at a time until you fight the main bad guy, and then that when that bad guy is defeated, some other guy comes out of nowhere and be like, "I'll send my henchmen one at a time in these duels," and then rinse and repeat. And I don't know because I was just really not liking the whole like Black Rose thing that was going on. Because
I gotta say, man, I find that really fascinating because it's the same thing with Fullmetal Alchemist, man. Like, you're the big shonen battle guy, and you're just not
no,
liking
I'm
that.
good. Well, the big difference is that when I hear something to be really really freaking good, story wise, I'm not expecting it to be a battle themed type of show that's following that route.
But Hero, you know that battle theme shows can
They
be
can
good.
be, and those are some of my favorites, but I wasn't expecting it at all from Utena because I mean I seen stuff like Princess Tutu and Escaflowne. They were traditional shoujos in all respect. But
Uh-huh.
and then I go to Utena, I'm thinking duels, sword duels, and the thing is like the fight is not even good. For the most part, I mean, most of the time it just ends with the same thrust she puts at the end. Grant us the power to bring revolution, and then thrust, game over.
Game over, man. Game
That
over.
was actually my biggest problem with the Black Rose, especially because a lot of the times it was mostly from the people who were controlled by the Black Rose that were dominating those episodes, and it hardly has anything to do with Utena or Anthe. It really doesn't feel like there's anything at stake here. Like that one time her friend was like controlled, then that makes sense. But the reason I feel Black Rose is such a filler arc is because their memories got erased, and then everyone just kind of goes back if nothing happened.
No, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong.
you know.
Yeah, there's a good chunk of the series there where it is they kind of just go off, but then once I think you get back onto Kyo, I think that it kind of gets more serious again.
Oh yeah.
I mean, well, I'll tell you what. Before I guess you go a little further, one reason why I really like the show is I will admit I kind of really like a lot of the weird stuff. Like I like a lot of the weird surrealist imagery, and I like the fact that it makes me think. And I do agree that yes, a lot of the fighting can be repetitive, and there's definitely a lot of silliness. But I feel a lot of that's intentional because the series is also supposed to be within its own plot as well, a big satire of magical girl stuff and breaking those tropes and challenging them. That's why it might seem like that's there, but a lot of that is intentional, which I thought was pretty cool, kind of pointing some of that stuff out. But the main reason I like the show, though, is because I really like the character of Utena. I really, really do like her. So I hope that my biggest goal with getting you to watch this was hopefully you feel positive about her character.
Yeah, I feel positive.
I think she's
about
pretty.
her, yeah.
Okay. Please, let's talk about that, I guess.
I mean, for right off the bat, because she's very tomboyish, and the whole idea of wanting to be a prince was breaking the whole gender stereotypes a lot. But she took it like in a whole different level to the point where because unlike Oscar, which was at some point Oscar was trying to abandon all womanhood, and not even consider love as an option. Utena, however, like 'cause she initially was more in the romantic kind of way, but then towards the end it kind of especially in the movie version, it kind of goes that she even swapped like sexual preferences.
Mm-hmm.
So she took it a whole different level.
It's quite possible.
Then the other thing that what I'm liking is that I'm not sure, like maybe she should have been a bit older or not. I don't know, but what I like is her interaction with the villain. Even though the audience knows that that's definitely the bad guy, she doesn't know, and all the stuff that Akio does, especially in that one recap episode, which I nearly skipped. At the very end of that recap episode, you see a very disturbing imagery I mean, you're wondering who is
Yep.
Utena talking to in this first person view. Then you just see her hand. I'm like, oh shit. She's naked in the bed and she's oh fuck. Like,
Yeah, he's really. I believe Jeizu Otaku put him up there as like one of her greatest villains, and
completely agree.
he's a
Honestly, I
bad.
feel he's like top 10 material. Well, honestly,
He's
he's
scary
a
as hell,
sexual
isn't he?
predator, man.
Yeah, I know. He's like that huge threat, and that's kind of what the series is all about: is the female trying to maintain that level of strength while still having to retain her femininity.
Not to mention
Be vulnerable as a
the
woman.
ton of sexual tendencies in that show too. I'm like,
I know, man, but I'm telling you, like, there's very good stuff within Utena. I'm glad you saw some of that. Like, the villain's scary. He's a
oh
bastard.
yeah, man. I mean, not just him, but even like Toga at one point was like he was like the next runner up. Fucking
Honestly, all the council members are pretty bad.
yeah, most of them are, but it's mainly the redhead one, which like oddly enough was actually voiced by Crispin Freeman. So
Of course.
like I didn't even notice it was him until like they were in the Akio part, and because that's when he started shouting more loudly, like "Come!" Like, do you hear it? It's the motor of the engine. I'm just
A motor of the engine of
like,
destiny.
"Come!" Like destiny awaits you. Honestly, if you have not forsaken all hope, then you can hear it. Like I hear it, and then vroom, it just comes out of nowhere.
Well, you have to admit that the over-the-top nature does make it pretty epic.
Personally, I like the over the top when it got to that point with Akio's car. It was just ridiculous.
Like, yes.
Yeah, I mean, especially how after a while the car just pops out of nowhere. Like even the arena is littered with automobiles. I'm thinking, so no one's gonna question this. It's just, and they start running with it and all that. I'm like, what the.
Honestly, I think that you have to kind of say to yourself as you're watching it, like you do with a lot of anime, like it's just kind of silly because Hero, you start off watching it and you're like, once again, like it's in this middle school, high school, whatever, and they're just going about their day, being typical students. And of course, here is where like this evil freaking organization that's the high school council with their giant tower that nobody goes to right in the middle, summoning all this castle floating in the sky, and nobody questions this. Nobody
Not to mention the
questions
sword
this
being
shit.
pulled out of people's chests.
Oh well, that was just sexy. We know that.
I remember
No.
in one of the early episodes, and Nana was asking, "So how did it feel?" Like,
Well, I want to ask though. Oten is a pretty strong character, but on the other spectrum, though, how do you feel about Anthony?
Anthony said, I wasn't sure what to think about her because I mean she goes from tragic, but then I was getting very confused towards the end of the whole the whole attempted suicide and then the betrayal, the stabbing of Utena. All that stuff because even with the function of the story, I'm still kind of confused. Like, how did all these events come to play? Like, how did like Akio lose his will as as God, and then how did she got branded as a witch exactly? Those details of like how the story started. I'm still confused about, honestly.
Well, it's kind of one of those things you might have to give it a rewatch sometime or look at a wiki if you feel like it. But
Either that or I feel like maybe the story has some holes in how to make things start. Because if you think about it, how did that guy ended off with the Rose Bride? The green haired one. This is to begin everything.
Yeah, he's kind of not that great.
So like, how did you end up with her in the first place?
Well, the only way I could think of that as being like an excuse is because you know that the council members are all testing each other and challenging each other, and so it's kind of that cloak and dagger game. So honestly, there might just be some pieces of the story we don't know, but they're always scheming, man. So I think it's possible that she might have been given to him in some way.
My God! It did not break the world shell. We will die before wow, I just all my words. If we do not break the Earth shell, we will die before even being born.
You have to admit that shit is
After
epic.
a while,
it's
it's so repetitive, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, they do say it
almost every episode. It would be like that, or the Akio version would be like, "Don't you just love the throbbing of the engine?" Now you too have seen the end of the world. Like, ba-da-ba-bum, ba-da-ba-bum. And they even had to remix the song.
They did, man. They did. Good opening.
So I'm still lost about Anthony's like a whole role in the story because I know like it wasn't really revealed until the very end that apparently the way like she was used is to take all the injuries the prince would have in order to open the gate or whatever, but it was still pretty fucking dickish. And I'm just thinking.
Well, no, she basically was, whatever reason she's been imbued with this magical ability to, be the source of this power. But so she's basically manipulated and twisted throughout the whole thing. She's abused by everybody. That's her purpose, is to try and stand.
I mean, she's just a tragic tool.
she's it's kind of depressing, man. It really is. It is. But that's why I think Utena's devotion to her is kind of awesome. You really want to see that happen, and then we don't have to go into spoilers, but I think that I think the ending is kind of satisfying in that sense.
A little confusing, I would say so myself.
Maybe a little confusing, but I think the general idea is
I mean, like, because it looked like more it was gonna be a tragic ending until the last few seconds. I'm just like, wow. Yeah, I mean, I was like, shit, I was not expecting that to happen. You know what's actually interesting about that scene too? That is,
What?
even though I have not seen the actual like episode, but I have seen the scene. It's very similar to It's possible that Digimon Tamers actually like took a scene from Utena. Yeah,
Really?
the whole from Tamers, the whole Leomon and the Devimon thing with the take my hand.
No, I
Yeah,
really?
think about it. The scene, how that goes down.
Huh. I guess they do look like they're edited similar. Interesting. Well, you know how they are. People borrow from each other all the time, man. So will you revolutionize the world?
And bring the world of revolution.
Bring the world
Revolution.
revolution.
Oh god, those quotes are just like you can just keep going on. They just say it so many. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh no, that's a good way to say it,
Here's
man.
the thing: like the reason why I'm so upset is because I was not expecting it to be as ridiculous as over the top as it was. If you told me, or if anyone announces that Utena is good, but prepare for some really crazy shit. It's some really ridiculous thing where you see a girl like chop a car in half.
No, I mean that's why I like it, man. It's so ridiculous, but it's kind of awesome. I'm sorry I didn't prepare you for that, but I wanted you to
No,
experience
that's what I
it
gotta
yourself.
do whenever I talk about it, because I gotta say, it's good, but I'm not sure people like it for the for the right reasons.
For the right reasons. You think people might have like a so bad it's good thing
It
to it?
might be. I don't want to say so bad, it's so good, but maybe it's one of those so outrageous that I can't help but love it. Because I mean, especially the whole Akio car thing, because it got to the fabulous side too, where there'll be moments where out of nowhere they'll just be taking photos of each other, or even when they're in conversations, microphones will pop out of the ground,
I'll tell you what. It's kind of this is kind of a series that I liked for kind of nostalgic reasons too, because like I knew a bunch of people that liked this, but they did like it because it was like so over the top. So I think I was introduced to it with that. But I mean, even despite that though, I do think there is some good story and character stuff in there though.
yeah, there is. Like even though it was like the Black Rose seems very fillerish, the only storylines that really seem to matter would be like the ones involving the student council, like the Orange Hair girl, with the locket. So, like
Yep.
her storylines, jury storylines are always like the more interesting parts. Like even when that guy showed up for a few episodes with that fencer like captain, whatever.
Well, all right. If I had to say, okay, here you go. Here, this might be an interesting question for you then. If you had to say what your single favorite thing and your single least favorite thing about Utena was, what would they be? If you could narrow it down to one major thing for each.
I guess like for me is a lot of the single standalone episodes that really don't do much of anything to the story. That's what I least like about it. Because most of them tend to be comedy, like that, like Nanami's little boy toy. Like he has like 3 or 4 episodes for himself, and I'm just thinking like we don't need to see that. They really don't need to see that, or some of the other ones. Like actually, there was one episode of Black Rose that really pissed me off.
What was that?
It's the one where Utena's friend, like she had like this childhood friend of hers, I mean, and then the guy shows up, and then the whole episode was about people like about them confessing their feelings to each other, actually dating, and then he goes up to her and saying like his confession, yeah, like I want to, like you should, like I'm pretty sure your prince will say the same feelings to you, and then she goes off and say, yeah, I should go tell him, and it wasn't him, it was completely somebody else, and it was Saionji, the green-haired one. Is that whole episode really pissed me off because it was such a waste of time.
That's not really badly. That's not really badly written though. You just didn't like the way.
Yeah,
it went.
I mean, to me, it was just like such a dick thing to say.
Well,
that's the one episode I really hate.
Just didn't like the way that turned out.
There was no point for it to begin with, because even the next episode, there is no acknowledgement of any of that previously happening. Nothing. It's an odd thing because the Black Rose Saga is like well directed, well written, but it really doesn't go anywhere.
It's just kind of this own
Yeah, yeah. The only
standalone thing
thing
that.
it ties into is with Akio, like at the end of the episode, and then only the last episode actually references again the the Black Girl Saga where they had their counseling room, and then the movie did the same thing too. But I guess
All
to
right.
say my favorite thing though, is actually probably Akio of all things.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah, because I
Okay.
just think he
Okay.
was like such a, like even though he was called Dios or God in English, the term devil is more appropriate for him.
Oh, he's the
Yeah,
devil, man. He is.
fucking
So you like the
yeah,
villain
like
the
it's
best?
it's like
I,
Vice Shoujo Manly. It's just-
oh, so wait, you're saying he can make
yeah,
top
I think
manly
he actually
villains?
is on the manly side, but just more on the okay. Here's the reason. Even though he looks very like
He's
yeah,
a
he's a
pretty
very
boy.
pretty boy. That's his main thing in the shoujo world. But here's the thing: this is a guy that seduces just about anyone under his way. I mean, like even the woman he's engaged to, he seduces her mom. He uses her
Yep.
mom. He goes and seduces like some. Not only does he seduces like older women, women his age, but even like women that are like clearly too young for him.
Yep.
Sexual fucking predator, man.
He's a
Here's the
scary
thing
dude.
about it. He doesn't force himself. Well, he does force himself, but he does it so fucking suavely. It's to the point where he actually, he persuades you to do that.
It's almost like he convinces them that they want it when they don't really
Yeah,
want it.
I mean, like with I don't know whether I should say this in the call, but like, yeah, I mean, especially his interaction with Utena. I mean, that was like the biggest thing, and obviously the whole, like incest shit that's going down like every night. Who
Yeah,
knows for
yeah,
how
yeah.
long? For like, didn't they say that Akio and Anthony weren't they like much older than they look? Like,
Yeah, they've been around a
yeah, yeah.
long
So who
time. They're
knows how
just
long he's been doing that shit?
well, yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of reasons why Anthony's not too great upstairs. I mean, she's got some problems. Wow. Well, all right. Here's a hard question though,
Mhm.
Hero.
Mhm.
I guess we can wrap it up, but as we typically do with anime, if you were going to give this like a number out of 10, what do you think you'd give
I
it?
think it's between a seven, like a 7 and an 8. It's
Okay.
really because you need to go in knowing full well that it could be kind of very slow paced, very comical, very outrageous, but the main character is really good, and even the main character,
Yeah.
the main villain, they're really good. The whole
All right.
trio of characters, and honestly, it's kind of weird, but I could kind of relate this to Berserk in some ways, actually.
I could see it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you got the whole Guts, Griffith, and Casca trio, then you got Utena, Anthe, and Akio,
Yep.
and
It's actually very
and
similar.
not even with the whole like fairy tale theme it has, it kind of relates to Berserk's dark fantasy. Even though there's nothing like too violent, but there's a plenty of fucked up things going on.
It's a lot of
It
psychological
really
though.
is, but then when it gets to the final arc, things just get like it's fucked up.
No, I mean, I told you
End of
it
the
gets
world.
dark.
There's a reason.
It's
There's a reason why the
a
show is called Revolutionary Girl Utena, and the full title of the series is The Absolute Destiny Apocalypse.
it's the
Yeah,
end, man. No, it's pretty epic. I think we can both agree on
yeah.
that. Well, all right, I'm curious though. Can you see why I'd like it?
I can kind of see.
All right. Well, that's awesome here. I'm glad you finally watched it. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it
For
too.
final words, like, should people watch the movie though?
No, I don't think so. Do you think so?
I was liking it to a certain point, but it's just the last 20 minutes. I felt like that was just even too outrageous, even for the
No,
cars, man.
it goes off the
Like
rails, man.
that
It
was
goes
a
off the
different
rails.
genre, man.
No, I don't know what they were. I think they were just
Yes,
like if you think
I
that
was
the
liking the beginning because I like how Utena became like more masculine looking in that version with the short hair than the whole like student guy uniform with the cap and everything. So
yeah
and then but then there were what I liked about the movie, they were kind of taking it into the more mature route with the whole idea like they weren't like pussyfooting around to say like what happens with you every night. Oh, what do people do to you? Like whoever wins you. Well, it's kind of fucking obvious.
yeah
And
man.
then the I don't know. I just didn't like how Akio was not really involved in the story other than just the recorded footage and just like ciao. Then it just reminds me of Batman Forever. Actually, no, I'm serious because that scene when they're replaying like the footage where the guy like dies and it's
Yeah.
literally almost the same thing. uh,
That's
but
hilarious.
I was really liking the redesigns and the animation for it. It just looked good. Even the academy, the fact that the school is just like floating and just moving. I'm thinking like, don't people fall off their buildings? I don't
Safety
know.
man.
I'm just liking how it looked like it was trying to like rewrite the story like in a movie format. You know, the whole thing in one go. And I was liking where it
Uh-huh.
was going, but then I'm just like, you didn't do enough. But like, you were going somewhere. I kind of like the difference with the whole Toga relationship because it actually ties into a thing they mentioned in the Utena anime about a boy rescuing a girl who was drowning, and that ends like very
Mhm.
tragically. And I like what they were doing there, but after that point, the movie just literally went into fucking racing.
Yeah, it got kind of
Way
silly.
too silly, even more than it needed to be.
I told you, man, if you think the show's weird, the movie takes the
Yeah, the
cake.
movie just like went off. It just I don't know. Like if those last 20 minutes did not exist, I would have say go watch the movie, even though it's a completely different story. Just like watching the Fist of the North Star movie, the Galaxy Express 39 movie. Those movies are completely different from their sort. Like the first four Dragon Ball movies. They're like that too. They're just alternate stories versions to the arcs. So
It's worth seeing,
yeah. So anyways, yeah, there goes Utena.
All right. Well, that's awesome. If anybody's seen Utena, let us know what you thought in the comments below. And if you haven't seen it, I'd say if you're interested, it's actually don't be turned away from it because it's a shoujo
It
romance or
takes
a
a
magical
while
period.
to get through it.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, it can get kind of silly and over the top. But there's some really good stuff there. I'd say definitely give it a chance if you can get past some weird subtext. I think you'll enjoy it.
When I was watching, I was actually looking at some descriptions on the episode list on Wikipedia. With all honesty, yeah, just to
Oh,
give me
really?
an idea whether is this episode going to be a comedy one. If it is, I'm just going to skip it. But do not
Uh,
skip the recap episodes. Well, honestly, just like skim through it because you're going to see some very very crucial images, especially towards like I think it's like in the 30s. There's one recap episode in particular, and that one's actually the most important thing in the whole anime. Yeah,
very
and
good.
I guess the final words is like, they don't you just love the throbbing of the engine?
Of destiny. Oh man. All right, hero. Let's call it a night, man.